Now, I asked you if you'd speak, remember? And I said, you come down tonight. We're going to have you speak. And you all heard that story about Dr. Amber, and she's in practice now a couple of years. The theme of the story tonight is about being on purpose. And I think when she went through life, that was the focal spot. On purpose, on purpose, on purpose. And then not even that, opening her office. So if she could share a few words with us, it would be appreciated.
Thank you. As always. Okay, let's see where to clip this.
You can hold it, clip it, or whatever.
Okay, I'll clip it. All right. Well, good evening. Are all of you students? That's so powerful because like Dr. River said, well, I call him River, but Dr. Ribley. But when he said, I started my first quarter, that was 2017. And do you still go to the school in first quarter?
No, they took that class away from me.
Okay. So I had Dr. Harmon's class, and he had invited Dr. Ribley in. And it's like my first quarter. I think it was like week 1 or 2, maybe 2. And here's this guy who comes in, and he's like, I stretch! And I'm like, whoa. And I'm sitting in the front row. But it just woke me up, just the power in his words and what he was saying and just how vibrant he was. I was like, okay, what is this? I was new to chiropractic. So it piqued my interest, and I decided, Dr. Harmon had passed out flyers, and I decided to come to a Spizz night. There were 2 rows of students. Maybe there was 10 of us, maybe. And I had come with 2 of my now best friends, and we had just only met a few weeks prior to that. And like Dr. Ribley said, I had decided to give myself the gift of inner winners. The reason I decided that was because when I came back to school, I came back with a purpose. So I had a whole separate career before I became a student. I worked in the fashion and retail industry. I lived in Paris. I had a son. I was building a family. I was not thinking about anything in the healthcare field. I actually wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. And playing volleyball at 19 years old, I had an injury, and I created 3 bulging discs in my low back, and that killed my career. No orthos could fix me. Everyone in the medical field said, well, this is something you'll have to deal with, and that wasn't acceptable for me. So fast forward some time, you mentioned how chiropractic is a windy road. So my road was a bit windy to get here. It took me about 15 years before I kind of fell and leaned into what chiropractic had to offer me. At that time, I was at kind of the lowest point of my life, yet making the most money I had ever made. 6 figures in retail. Doing great, living in Tampa, and things just didn't seem right. I don't know about you guys, if you ever been to that point where you wake up every day and you're going to this job or you're doing this thing, and it just doesn't fuel you. It's not filling your bucket. I felt like I was giving, and not getting anything in return. So I went on this soul-searching journey, and I spent some time. I decided to move back to Atlanta, be closer to family. And I spent the time reading and studying and praying and meditating and fasting and praying and reading. I mean, you name it. I was reading many different cultures, many different scripts, not just the Bible. I'm talking about everything. So it's so funny because you talked about dreams. And not to sound cheesy, but I had one of those. I remember probably 9 months into my journey, I took a nap one day. I like to take naps. Naps are good for you. Take them. Yes, me too, sunshine. I love my naps. So I took a nap, and in my nap, in my dream, I'm a very vivid dreamer. I see, I smell, I feel, I can hear everything. It's in color. And I was in my practice. I was in the office. I was adjusting people. It was multi-purpose, and my son was practicing with me. Now, at the time, he was 3 or 4. I couldn't see his face. He had grown up to be a man. I just knew it was my child, right? And I woke up from that dream, and the first thing I did was call the school. And I was like, I'm going to call Life University and see how I get enrolled in this program, because I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been waiting for 9 months to find that answer, to find that thing. And I didn't hesitate. And I found out that I really only needed like 2 classes to actually get into the program, because I told you I'd switched my degree from biology to fashion and retail management. 2 classes for 15 years kept me away from chiropractic. So I was like, okay, all right, lesson number 1. So I decided to get in school, and then here we are a few weeks later, and I'm at Spizz night. I never looked back. I sat in the seats where you guys were sitting. I soaked in everything that Dr. Ribley was saying. I listened to some speakers. I listened to what everyone was saying. And I was like, I need more. Like, this is great. This is just a little sprinkle of chiropractic, but I need more. And I decided to give myself inner winners because I wanted a challenge. I wanted to do something that I had never done before and be different than I had ever been before. See, I was going down this path of thinking I knew what I wanted, and I was like, no, this is how it's going to be. I'm going to be a fashion and retail manager. I'm going to go into runway production. I'm going to live in Paris and make these beautiful and that was not for me. That's not where God had intended me to be. So I decided to do something different because in order to get to some place I had never been, I got to put on some different shoes or get in a different car or go down a road that I had never traveled before. So it was scary as hell. I'm not even going to lie. And then my parents were like, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, I'm going to go back to school to become a chiropractor. And they're like, okay, you're like 30 something and you got a kid and a whole family, what are you doing? And I was like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I knew in that moment that I was there for a reason. And my why was I wanted to be able to leave Carter a legacy. I wanted to be able to give him something that I had never had myself. Now, I had great parents. They taught me everything that they knew, but I didn't know about chiropractic. I grew up in Kennesaw. This is like, we're 20 minutes away from the school and no one had ever talked to me about it. So when you think people know, they don't know. You cannot be afraid to have that conversation with someone. I don't care if you're running on the treadmill and they're running next to you, if you're at the grocery store, if you see the man in Best Buy with the limp, you need to spread the message and not be scared to do that, okay? You're gonna learn that during your time in this institution. So I decided to do something different. And it started with me coming to school and then going to Inner Winners. And when I tell you that was a challenge of a lifetime, but I don't think I would be, it would make me cry if I really leaned into that story. I don't think I would be the person I was right now, who I am today, had it not been for the experience that I had at Inner Winners. So much that I had to go back and do it again. Probably like a year later, I think I went back. I needed more. I needed to dig deeper. So you're gonna have to dig deep inside you to be able to serve. You can't do this from a surface level. It's not on the surface. It's inside, right, Dr. Leslie? It's inside. It's in here. It's deep in here. If you don't know why you're here, what your purpose is, what the mission that you're on, then that fire will start to dwindle. It'll go down, and you're like, oh, school, oh, boards, dang. Oh, Dr. Harmon, not again. You know what I mean? When he gets to talking and what do you still do? I don't remember what the class is that you kicked all of our butts in, but he's got some. What is?
Spinal.
Yes.
It was spinal.
I'm telling you, school is going to be challenging, but if you have to lean into it. You got to take it. I tell students all the time, everything that you learn while you're in school is going to matter the moment that you step foot on the other side of here. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a patient who is going to walk in and they're going to have an issue that a medical doctor has not been able to answer, but you have the knowledge and the information because you have professors and people that are teaching you, molding you, training you, and preparing you for that. So you've got to lean into that, but you have to hold on to your why. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Because the days are long. Sometimes you're exhausted. You have a whole life outside of your office. You're going to go in and you're going to be like, oh my God, I got bills to pay. Oh my God, my kids. I have 2 now, by the way. I have 2. I had my second one in the pandemic in my second quarter of clinic when I was an ambassador, getting ready to graduate, taking online schools. In December 22nd, so if you can do the math, that's a few days after 11th quarter ends. We've got, a 3-week break. I was back in clinic seeing patients a few weeks later because of my why, because I knew why I was doing what I was doing. Yeah. I love my son. I love him. But when I was adjusting while I was carrying him, Every time I would toggle or do a good full spine or release something, he would move. And I go, oh, this is deep. This is really deep, right? So I knew that I had to keep pushing to finish that. I was not going to settle, and I did not want to stop. I took all my board exams after I had him, part 1, 2, 3, 4, and PT in a row, and finished on time, right? So don't tell me it's not possible.
That's right.
It's possible.
That's right.
Okay? I served the entire time of my schooling, probably except for 3/4 with Dr. Rubin as a student ambassador. I also became a member of Alpha Delta Epsilon. I went to 2 inner runners. I trained. I worked hard. I stayed the course and I dug deep. I came to Spizz nights. I went to seminars. I stayed around people who could feed my fire, who would fill my bucket, because why you do what you do is vitally important, and you have to have people pouring into you. You cannot do this by yourself. You need a village, right? You need to come to Spizz nights and bring friends, bring your colleagues, and you have to keep coming when you're on the precipice of graduating and even after that, because the work is on the other side. You guys have it easy right now. There's some days where I'm like, yeah, I'd go back to first quarter and start all over again, to be just that innocent to what's really the work on this side of things. When you get out, it's going to require a lot of you. So we talked a lot about lasting purpose. Lasting purpose is not just a phrase. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. It's a responsibility. We charge you with that when you accept enrollment at our institution. When you decide to come to Life University, we charge you to carry that torch forward of lasting purpose, to give, to love, to serve out of a spirit of abundance, expecting nothing in return. Because sometimes you're not going to get what you think. You're not going to get $100,000 when you graduate. You may not get the best grade on the board exam. You may not even pass it, but you keep doing it because there's something there that keeps pulling at you, and you have to know what that why is. And then you have to be okay with spreading the message. So I challenge you guys, do something different. Connect with people that you've never connected with before. Go talk to someone who sits in the front row or the person who sits in the back. Move your seat in the classroom. You want to be something greater, get out of your comfort zone. Start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because the greatness doesn't happen in our comfort zone. It happens when the 101-year-old patient is laying on your table and you're like, okay, cannot do full spine on you. Left my activator at home. We didn't do this in clinic. But he doesn't know that. So what do? You love on them. I tell my patients all the time, you just needed some TLC. You just needed someone to love you. You just needed someone to put their hands on you with the right intention. And that's what it's all about, right? So you're learning all the technical things and all the science terms and the bio and how to adjust and all that. That's great. Once you learn it, that's fine. But you need to digest it. It needs to become one with you, because there's going to be days where you can't move something, but that doesn't mean you can't give them a healing, right? So you have to be okay with not getting it right every single time, especially as a new doc. So I can speak from a little different because they're seasoned. They've been out here a lot longer than I have. I'm still learning. But my patients don't know that. They don't even ask me how long I've been out of school. And then I think I've had maybe 1 or 2 patients. When did you graduate? I'm like, I don't know, a few years ago. How long you been seeing patients? A few years. That's what I tell them. A few years, because you saw them in clinic. You know, you count that time. That matters. When I was getting ready to graduate, it was the happiest and the saddest time of my life, because not saddest, but I was gonna miss being in school. I was gonna miss being in my bubble, right? I was gonna miss having colleagues and classmates to spend time with, to study with, to learn with. So I try to come up to campus as often as my family allows me to, because now I have a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they keep me very busy. But I bring them with me, they'll tell you. I bring them up there with me. They come, fall CE or whether it's life leadership, I don't care. I'm bringing, because it's all about family. But I was given a very special task when I graduated, and I take it extremely seriously. Not many people get this, and I don't say this lightly, but because I didn't expect it. But I was awarded with the Lasting Purpose Award. Now, I wasn't expecting that, and it was given to me. And I was like, wow, I earned this? The school thought that much of me? That's why I'm here. Why are you here? Why are you here? Are you here because your mom's here? Are you here because you want to be here? Are you here because your friend's here? Or are you here because you want to be here? Are you here because you want to change lives? You want to be the difference? I have a board in my office. It's a, what is it, a wooden board? Like 2x4 plank. It's broken in half, and on one side it says, Amber, you are the difference. Sits up, and he wrote it for me, 2017. It stays there. It's my reminder. I have a couple other cool things, but they'll have to go to Inner Winners to find out what those are that stay in my office. I look at that every single day because I ask myself on my tired days, on my stressed out days, one, why am I here? And two, am I the difference? If you can't if you can't answer those questions, then you need to clock out and go home. You don't need to lay your hands on people. We're energy. We are matter. We are energy. We are innate intelligence. How we touch and put our hands on people, the hugs we give, the words we speak, our intention and everything is so powerful. You can change somebody's life just by touching them. When you realize that, when you really, really realize that, you'll be like waking up every day going, yes, I get to do this. I get to change lives. I get to be the difference. I get to give an adjustment. I get to save someone from an illness, from an ache. It's not about pain. It's here. It's not in the joint. It's here, and it's here. You have to tap in. Please, while you're in school, I challenge each and every one of you, lean into your why. If I see you again, I'm going to ask you, why are you here? Not why do you want to be a chiropractor, but why are you here? Why did you decide to come here tonight? When you get up on Monday and you go to class, why are you in class? Are you in class to listen to the lecture and pass a test? And I'm going to be on the back on TikTok and scrolling. I'm going to watch the game. It plays a couple bets. I know. I had friends that did that. They sat in the back of the classroom. If you're sitting in the back of the classroom, I'm going to ask you, because how you do anything is what? How you do everything. So if you sit in the back of a classroom, are you going to sit in the back of this profession? If you're sitting back there and you're not paying attention to Dr. Harmon who's talking to you or any other professor who took their time to teach you, are you going to treat the profession the same way? So I didn't do that. Where did I sit, Dr. Harmon?
Front row.
What front row? The front row in 127 or the floor? He don't remember. He's so, don't. I sat on the floor in 127. You know that handicap row?
Not on the floor. She was on a chair.
I was in a chair, right, not literally on the floor. But we pulled our desks
There's
to
a
the
couple of movable desks.
to the front. That's where I sat because I want to be in front of chiropractic. I want to lead in this profession. I don't want to be in the back. My work is not in the back of the classroom. My work is up front. It's loud. I have questions. I want answers. I want to understand. I want to be tapped in, and I want to connect. If you're not doing that in school, what makes you think you're going to do that when you graduate? You need to tap in today. You're not a chiropractor when you get some tassels or a degree. You're a chiropractor today. Are you willing to fight today? If I had asked you, are you a doc or are you a student? You're a student. What quarter are you? Huh? You're in peak? Oh, you're in pre-DC. Oh, I love that even more. So you're right. You're coming into it. Yeah, you ready? Are you ready? It's not going to be easy. You don't want it to be easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But you're here for a reason. Know that reason. I started with a class of 208 people. Not everybody made it through. I think he told me, look to your left and your right. Everyone's not going to be here in a few quarters. 5th quarter will try you. 7th quarter will break you. Get into clinic. Good luck when you start taking boards. So I'm going to ask you again, are you sitting in the back of the classroom, not paying attention to your professors? Are you wasting your time not learning, because the one thing that that professor might teach you on that one day that you didn't pay attention to, I guarantee you will be something that your patient will ask you. And you'll be like, damn, I don't remember that day in class. I know I learned it, or to be on the boards. So you need to move up, be the difference. Don't sit in the back. I don't care. I really don't care if your friends are sitting in the back of 127. Move your ass up. That's not where you belong. Not if you want to lead in this profession and change lives, because those people in the back of the classroom, they're not going to live the same life that you and I are leading. You're here for a reason because you guys chose to come. This is the front of the classroom. You want to be in the front, you come to Spizz Nights. You want to be in the front, you go to Inner Winners. You want to be in the front, you serve. You want to be in the front, you lead. You go to conferences, you go to seminars, you find mentors, you tap in, you dig deep. You don't get to sit in the back. So if I hear that they're sitting in the back, Dr. Harmon, I'm coming in. I'm going to remember faces. Yeah. Because I don't like that, right? Be intentional about why you're becoming a chiropractor, why you're fighting for this profession. And the last thing I'm going to challenge you with, because I don't think Dr. Koch is teaching them anymore, it's, who's your philosophy teacher now? Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, do you guys know those principles? Ooh, crickets. Yeah, you should learn those. You should learn them, not for the purpose of an exam, because the exam will come and go. That's a brief period of time, but for the purpose of your profession. We are a philosophy-based institution. If you don't understand what the principles are of chiropractic and why you're here today, why we do what we do, you will be challenged every day in practice. When someone comes in and challenges the authority that you thought that you said about your profession, you don't have any leg to stand on because you can't speak to it. So I challenge you to learn those principles too. I know quite a few of them. So dig in, dig deep, go harder. Next week when you show back up, do something different, just one thing. Just do one thing different this coming week that you have never done before. Watch how your life will change. Watch something different happen for you, right? When you set intentions, you start manifesting, things shift, things happen. Show up, be there, be present. It'll pay off. I promise you it will pay off for you. I learned how to manifest and manipulate time. Remember that? Yeah, I do that quite often. That's my superpower. I bend time. I warp time. I warp time. We can have a separate conversation about that, but when I tell you there's things that you can manifest, each of you has a superpower within you and you've yet to tap into it. And do you think I'm kidding? Ask someone who's been to Inner Winners if they have superpowers. And if you want to know what yours are, take your ass to Inner Winners. That's the only way I can describe it. But that's all I have for you tonight. I'm very excited to see each and every one of your faces. It's amazing, amazing that you filled this space up, this room. This is a sacred place. I love being in this space, and I'm just so happy to have the opportunity to speak to you all.
It's an inner winter at the time to have a love affair with yourself.
It's a love affair with yourself. You better fall. If you don't fall in love with yourself, if you don't love yourself, Sunshine, who's going to love you? You have to love yourself, right? So thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Of course. There you go.
She's been to